Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this week's Monday Motivation with me, Jenny Kovacs, also nicknamed the Queen of Being Seen. So why would you want to even watch this video? Hopefully it will be a short video transmitted live, so you might see me speaking to people who pop up in the comments below, and if that's you and you're watching live right now and you like to get involved, ask questions or make comments or anything else like that, all you need to do is type in the box below. But if you're watching this as a replay, maybe it's not even Monday anymore, maybe it's the middle of the week, then by all means feel free to type comments and stuff as you watch too. So today I thought I would talk about time, because at the moment we are in quite unusual times, I think. There are some of us that feel like we have more time, and there's some of us that feel like we don't have enough time. Hey, good morning, Ivona. So, there's this kind of split going on. So I thought, what a great topic to speak about, given the number of conversations that I've seen, the number of conversations that I've had, the number of ways that people are kind of trying to navigate this new normal, inverted commas, kind of air quotes. Thank you for the love. It's great to see on a Monday. Oh, so that I don't forget, because whenever I forget to say this always happens. If you are watching this or for the first time, or you've watched a few of these and you're like, actually, I always get a little nugget or something out of it, please do share it on your timeline. And if what I'm speaking about speaks specifically to someone you know, you can actually share this as a private message to that person. If you do that, I would let them know why. Don't just share it and then not say anything. Case in point, I was watching something yesterday, only briefly, but it was like a DJ that was playing something, and I knew of a number of friends who would really, really like it. In fact, it wasn't yesterday, it was Saturday. I knew of a number of friends that would really, really like it. So I sent it to them and I said, you might like this because. So I'd recommend you do the same, otherwise it just seems a bit kind of random in your face. I'm going to take a sip of my drinks. I've got a really croaky kind of voice this morning. So the tea of choice is raspberry and echinacea with a splash of fruit in there. Okay, so time in these strange times. So the first and best way to get the most out of this video is to think about, first off, actually, to think about any challenge in time that you have. And what do I mean by that? Think about the things around time that might frustrate you, things around time that you might kind of struggle with, things around time that you might wish were different, okay? So something that you find frustrating around time, something you struggle with, or you wish were different. And the reason that I lay the table of this particular live like that is because I really want these Monday motivations to be beneficial for you. I always say, these are motivations, but they're not just for Monday. They might be for your morning, they might be for your Monday, they might even be for your week. And as we go into May the 4th, let me be the first to make a May the 4th be with you joke, then you might even find that this motivation helps you throughout this month, in bits and pieces. So when I ask anybody, whether I'm working with them closely, whether I'm working with a group of people, whether I'm doing it online or offline, it doesn't actually matter. We're all humans and we all process things very differently. We all think of things very differently. Whenever I ask those questions, people will normally go, oh yeah, there's that. And then quickly go, oh, no, it can't be that, it must be something else. So whatever that thing was that first came up, that's the thing to go for. Okay, so now you have got some awareness, and maybe it'd be helpful if I give an example as we go along. Let me give you an example, one that I've heard a lot and one that I've kind of navigated myself around time. And feeling like, I remember, and this is going back like over a decade, nearly to 2 decades. I remember feeling like I just didn't have enough time. I was very senior within financial services, a senior management team, member of the management team within financial services, There were lots of projects on the go, and whilst not all projects were my projects, they fed into what I was doing. So I would literally, as the day started, have like sometimes a mental but often a very physical to-do list of people that I needed to get back to by a certain time, of things that I needed to tick off, of things that I needed to chase up. And I just had that feeling like there weren't enough hours in the day. And the evidence of this for me was at one point I worked out about 85 hours a week. You know, given that I should have only been working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5:30 and all of that great stuff. Those were the kind of hours I was working. And the reason why this is a great place to start when you're looking at motivation, especially of the self, which is what this is about, me giving you some helpful tips, tools and techniques to be able to motivate yourself, so you don't need me shouting in your ear every 2 seconds, is when we start to look at where we're challenged specifically, it helps us to see it, to navigate it, to do something with it. So that was my challenge back then. Your challenge might be something different to do with time. You might feel in these days that you have too much time on your hands, therefore it leads to something. So where you might be struggling is too much time on your hands leads you to overthink things, leads you to worry, leads you to anxiety, which is an interesting example, because it's very strange that in the last few weeks, now people are settling into this kind of different way of living, different way of being, that they're having clarity of thought enough to see that that's become a sticking point for them. And because it is, this is where they're starting to reach out to people like you, people like me, to say, actually, I need some help here. So speaking of time and timelines, for those of you that are preparing and making something really beautiful for when we come out of this, there are people that are struggling now. I've spoken to plenty of people that are struggling now and have helped in the way that I can help, but I'm not the only person in the world that can do that. And I know that a lot of people that follow my work are either coaches themselves, have their own clients and own practices, have their own areas of expertise, have their own skill set. And I know that the challenge for many of us is not wanting to push stuff out there that isn't relevant or is adding to any kind of chaos and confusion, because, you know, we're people that like to help. You're a person that likes to help people. You're a person that likes to make a difference. You're a person that wants to be transformational for somebody else and help them. This timepiece is almost like the nucleus of starting to really I want to say unwrap it. Does that make sense? Does that even make sense? Thank you for the thumbs up just there. If that makes sense, please just type yes or Y in the box. If it doesn't and it springs up a question, please feel free to ask it, because I'd like to start to get under the surface of this. I'm seeing this a lot, and I know it's something that a lot of people are struggling with. So I take it that it does make sense. Okay, so now you have looked at what's either frustrating you, what you wish was different, what you might be struggling with, or anything else like that. Thank you, my lovely. Thank you for confirming that. Now you've looked at that, there are the next kind of steps to look at to help with that motivation. And this is the bit that, even though it's got to do with time, when you're self-motivating, it helps you steer your plane. So, you know, do you go left? Do you go right? Do you go straight ahead? Do you go anywhere in between that? And that's this. Now you've identified either the frustration, the struggle, or what you wish you were different. Look at where you are right now. How is it causing you an issue? How is it stopping you? How is it, maybe for you it's like, well, it's not causing me an issue at all. I'm able to go for it straight away, and that's great. But take a quick kind of audit, if you like, of where you are now with this thing. And if, by the way, you're doing this exercise, and this is quite usual during this exercise, if you're doing this exercise and you're like, but there's about 5 things I've written down or 5 things I've thought of, do write them down, pick one of them. Now, the next question is normally, but which one should I pick? And people say, oh, but you know, there's this, it's important. which one of those things, if you've got more than one, if you were to pick it, would make the biggest difference for you moving forward? Don't think the biggest difference in my overall goal or my overall plan or world domination. Think about, if I could nail this like by the end of today, like would it make a big difference? And go for that one. Often people are surprised when they have a look down a list and they pick something like that because they feel like they need to ruminate and stuff over it. But there are times to sit back and reflect, and there's times to take an action. And the reason that I say like now is a time to take an action on that is because this is taking us into a decisive way of moving forward. This is not, and you've got a list of them, so you can come back and repeat this exercise again and again. So don't think that you're missing something out or throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Make sense? Okay, so now you've had a good look at where you are now. Things like, what is it that you're seeing that are happening on a daily basis? How are you feeling about stuff? How are you perceiving yourself? How are you perceiving others? What is moving you along? What is stopping you? What is stilting you? What is having you like get excited and energized? What's draining your energy, etc., etc., etc. So I had a discussion around time last night with a friend. Great insights, just having had that conversation. Yes, interesting, because there were a couple of things I could have spoken about today, and this was on my mind just because of it's obviously in the air, isn't it? So thank you for sharing that. So here's the thing. Now you've got a really great kind of audit of what's going on. And by the way, you might need to come back to this video, listen to the questions that I ask, pause the video, take time to write them down. I know many of you really get a lot of insight from journaling, writing stuff down, and then play the next bit and come back. And if you do that, give yourself, ironically, a time frame, that you're going to do that for. Like, set yourself an hour aside, get yourself really comfortable, and get pen and paper and write it down. So now you've looked at where you are presently. I want you to literally, I know this is going to sound strange, physically shake it off your system. Like, do that. Like, shake it out of your system and have a look around you and have a look upwards. Have a look at the ceiling or the sky if you're outside watching. If you're about to cross a road, don't. Just stop, stand still. Just have a look. Now, if you are inside, have a look at how many lights you can see. How many lights can you see? There's a very good reason I'm asking you to do that. Don't worry, trust the process. If you want to know more about why I say certain things, everything I say is very purposeful to get you that motivated state, to get you to do the thing that you want to do, not what I want you to do, but what you want to do. It's very, very important, especially when it comes to motivation. So, I did the stop, start, continue exercise. I'll find out more about that next time we speak. So, yes. Okay, so now you've done that thing with the lights. Look upwards and start to almost like envision, imagine. Now that problem, struggle, feeling of frustration has now gone, don't worry about how it's gone, but now it's gone, and you're in the future, maybe you're a month away from having sorted that thing out. Now think about how life looks for you. What's different about your life now? How does life look for you? How do you feel about stuff now? How do you feel in that specific area now? What are you doing that's different than before? All of those sorts of questions. And really, this is a great exercise to write down. It's great to discuss it with somebody else, but in terms of the self-motivational piece, it's really, really great to write it down. So just write down, and even if you don't keep what you've written down and you kind of throw it away, or you write it in the back of a notebook and don't really, this is not a go and look at this every day and make sure that you do it, but just getting into that feeling, into that vibe of the thing that you're doing and what's different. Okay, so once you've done that, and again, if you need to pause, keep writing, what will happen is you'll then start to see the differences between where you are now and where you want to be. And this is a really great way to identify what's stopping you and also how to proceed. Strangely, this gives you clarity, but you'll know that if you're following the exercise. It gives you clarity and it helps you to plug the gaps in the middle. And what's important about this, and why has it got to do with time? Or, what on earth has it got to do with time? Well, what's important about this is when you've plugged those gaps and now you can see what's in the middle, it actually gives you your own sat nav as to what to do next. If you are noticing that now you've solved this, frustration that you had and things are different, and you notice that it's because you had too much in your diary, for example, now one of the first things you can do, or the first steps you can take to start to free up that time, is to maybe just look through your diary at what needs to be there and what doesn't need to be there, as an example. With me, thinking back to the so many hours in the day, so much time, I had to actually, by doing this exercise, look at something not too dissimilar to the example I gave you, but I needed to look at which projects took priority. After a certain amount of projects, there's only so much that you can do in a day. What it meant was that when the next project came in and somebody said, this is urgent and needs to be done by so-and-so, rather than trying to spin plates and gather more stuff in, it meant that I could look at, a realistic end to it. I could say, well, there's this thing, this thing, this thing. In fact, on one very specific example, I actually, I was given something by a director of the business, and I was able to say, well, that there's this project and this project and this project, which are time critical, and, I need you to go and speak to whoever these directors are so that you can all discuss amongst yourself what goes next. Until such time, I need to proceed with what I've got. I'm not going to take yours on just yet, but let's have a discussion. And if we need to then meet and talk about it, we can. But have the initial discussion with them first and get that sorted. And they negotiated, which meant it was one less thing for me to do. I didn't have to sit there and try and take it on and try and juggle and spin plates. And there are very many times when actually people think it's a case of just saying, yes, I can do it, or no, I can't, or firmer boundaries, when actually there are pieces in between. So I hope that helps, especially for those of you who are either physically going into work still or working from home and navigating this whole thing about delegating when you're at a distance, delegating online, delegating by email. And my top tip for that is it's always easier to pick up the phone and have the actual conversation with somebody. There's no kind of misconception, no room for kind of manoeuvre, and also you can have very clear conversations, ask lots more questions, supplementary or follow-up questions, and get more clarity so that you're both on the same page, or that the whole team are on the same page. Hopefully helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Didn't see any questions. I'm squinting there because I haven't got my glasses. They're just there. But, just having a look. Hopefully helpful. Remember to share this, and because this is a Facebook Live, this replay will stay on here, unless of course you're on my YouTube channel. And if you're not, search for the Queen of Being Seen, Jenny Kovacs, and you will find my YouTube channel on there, and give it a little subscribe. I've noticed a few of you starting to subscribe to more stuff over there too. So thank you for joining me. Have a really great Monday. Let me know what you got most from this exercise and the difference that it makes. I always love to hear that. In the meantime, I shall go and do a few more bits and pieces, because today is coaching day for me and my clients. Thank you so much for watching, and if you know that you could use some help with coaching, and maybe you don't want to go into a significantly long program at the moment, during this lockdown, I do have some £99 sessions, or if you're in America, $99 sessions, where you and I can work personally. There's no pre-work needed. You just hop on, we have our session, I record it for you and give you a copy of that session too. So if that's you and you know that you need that now, jump in. These sessions are proving to be quite popular. Just send me a message to this page and I'll send you the information on how you can do that. And if, for example, your dilemma is over, say, a relationship, then I'll point in the direction of the lovely Ivona, who's on here and interacting really well, because she's a relationship coach and she would be far better to be doing that than I. Thank you so much for joining. Bye for now.